Chapter 236. At that time, the restaurant was already full of people. Sitting behind Wang Ran was a pair of grandfather and granddaughter. The grandfather was complaining to his granddaughter that the restaurant didn't allow him to order and sold the food at such an expensive price. His granddaughter should be a viewer of Su Yiyen's live broadcast room. She brought her grandfather here to see if these so-called medicinal cuisines were really good for the human body and if they could help cure her grandfather's rheumatism. Grandpa, don't be angry. This restaurant is opened by a streamer I like very much. I've tried her dishes on the internet. They are very delicious and have the effect of strengthening the body. Many lucky viewers who were chosen by her in the lucky draw said that it was really effective. The girls saw that her grandfather's expression was still not good. She hurriedly held his hand and said coquettishly, "Let's try it once. If it doesn't taste good, we won't come again. You saw it just now. They could tell that you have old cold leg at the first sight. Maybe it really works." The old man's expression became slightly better. He snorted and said, "You're just a child. You only know how to watch this and that on the internet all day long. They could tell that I have old cold leg at the first sight. The scanner in the hospital can also tell the condition with a scan. It can only give some conservative methods. If it's going to relapse, it will still relapse. This kind of trick can only deceive a little girl like you who doesn't know anything." The old man's old cold leg was also quite old. It was a disease left behind when he was young. The older he got, the more uncomfortable he felt. Especially on rainy days, he was so upset that he couldn't sleep. The hospital had a way to alleviate it, but unfortunately, it didn't treat the symptoms. It was fine this time, but it would happen again on rainy days. Okay. Just take it that I was deceived. The food in this restaurant isn't that magical, but the taste is definitely good. Let's just take it that we occasionally come out to improve the food. Don't be angry." The old man also knew that his granddaughter was concerned about his health. He snorted and didn't say anything. After about 20 minutes, the two's food arrived. There was hot ginger glutinous rice porridge, fragrant braised eel, and a pot of gastrodia duck soup. As soon as they opened the lid, the smell drifted uncontrollably in all directions. Wang Ran, who hadn't been served yet, unconsciously swallowed his saliva. Not to mention the grandfather and granddaughter sitting at the table. "See, Grandpa, I didn't lie to you. It really smells good." The old man was obviously tempted by the smell, but he still kept a straight face and said proudly, "It's so expensive, but you can't order it. If the taste is not good, you're not afraid of people smashing the store." The waiter on the side was not annoyed when he heard that. He smiled faintly and said, "There is still a black chicken wine stewing on the stove. The store manager instructed us to pack it for you before the guests leave. After you go back, drink it according to the instructions for a period of time. It will be effective." The girl's eyes lit up and she quickly said, "Thank you, manager. I will make sure my grandpa drinks well." The waiter left leisurely after completing his task. Grandfather and grandson couldn't wait to start eating. Coincidentally, Wang Ran's medicinal cuisine arrived at the same time. Different dishes had different tastes, but they were all equally fragrant. Wang Ran was not pretentious. He picked up a piece of potato with his chopsticks and put it into his mouth. Ah, how fragrant. The same thing happened in every corner of the shop. People who were curious or doubtful at first were all satisfied after eating the real thing. Chapter 237. Yen, let me introduce you. This is Uncle Fan and Auntie Jiao that I mentioned to you before. Qing Juanhao led them into the house and introduced Su Yiyen to them. "Old Fan, sister-in-law, this is my niece." Qing Juanhao had told them that his niece was young, but when they saw Su Yiyen, they still felt that the person in front of them was different from what they had imagined. Su Yiyen knew what they were thinking when she saw their eyes, but she didn't care. She smiled and said, "Hello, Uncle and Auntie. You're my uncle's friends. If you don't mind, you can call me Yen." Okay. Su Yayan took the initiative to speak, and it made the two of them relax a little. They deliberated and said, I heard from your uncle that Shueru was able to get pregnant thanks to you. We're here today to ask if the two of us can also. I know. Uncle mentioned it to me before. There are many reasons why people can't get pregnant. I can't be sure if it can be cured before I see the person. Then now, sit down first. Su Yiyen gestured for them to sit down, then said to Fan Weiming, Uncle Fan, let me take your hand. Hand? Qing Juanhao reacted quickly and hurriedly said, give her your hand. Previously, Yan Yan had pinched Shui Ru's pulse and knew that she was pregnant. Fan Weiming and his wife were stunned. They looked at each other and reached out their hands subconsciously. Su Yiyen felt his pulse and thought for about 20 seconds. She turned to Gu Jiamei and said, Auntie, come here. Gu Jiamei hurriedly reached out her hand and looked at Su Yiyen for a while. She couldn't help but ask, how is it? Su Yiyen took back her hand and smiled. Your situation is different from uncle and auntie's. They're mainly my auntie's problem. As for the two of you, it's mainly the man's problem. Fan Weiming was taken aback. He wasn't surprised by Su Yiyen's conclusion. He was surprised that she was able to identify their problem just by feeling their pulse. Was it a coincidence, or did someone tell her in advance? Qing Juanhao could tell what Fan Weiming was thinking at a glance. His face darkened and he was a little unhappy. He had brought them here to see his niece out of kindness, but these two actually suspected that he had ulterior motives. It was really a case of a dog biting Lu Dongbin, not recognizing the kindness of others. Su Yiyen, on the other hand, did not feel anything. She was a newbie who had just stepped into the door of traditional Chinese medicine. It was normal for patients to have doubts. What exactly is the problem? As for you, Uncle Fan, you have hypospermia and no spermatozoa. It's just that you have less sperm and lower sperm activity. It just so happens that Aunt Gu has a cold constitution, so it's not easy for her to get pregnant. It would be a miracle if two people who had problems conceiving a child were to bump into each other and actually give birth to a child. Fan Weiming and his wife's expressions changed slightly. Su Yiyen could see that the man's problem was more serious. They could say that it was Qing Juanhao who told them. After all, the reason why they got together was because they couldn't have children. When they chatted before, they would occasionally talk about each other's conditions and reveal some things. However, they had never talked about their specific conditions. They had only vaguely mentioned it once. It was mainly the man's problem. Chapter 238. It can be cured, but the process is more troublesome and may take a long time. In addition, you are older, so I can't guarantee the final result. When Fan Weiming heard Su Yiyen say that it could be cured, he became more excited. It doesn't matter. As long as it can be cured, no matter how troublesome it is, we are willing to cooperate. As long as it works, even if it is only 1 in 10,000, we want to try. Gu Jiamei also echoed, yes, as long as there is hope, we will absolutely cooperate unconditionally. These people gathered together because they were in the same boat. Secondly, their family backgrounds were similar, and their temperament and character were relatively good. They had deep feelings for each other. Even if they did not have children, they were not willing to separate and have a child with another man or woman. But it was precisely because of their deep feelings that they wanted to have a bloodline that belonged to each other. For so many years, watching their relatives, friends, and even their juniors have lovely children one after another, the two of them were envious and sad. They thought that it might be like this for the rest of their lives. Who would have thought that there would be a sudden turn for the better? How could they not be excited? Well, since you all said so, then I will treat you with ease. Aunt Gu's side is relatively simple. The main problem is that her womb is cold. She needs to eat more medicated diet to nourish her body. Otherwise, even if she is pregnant in the future, it is easy to have a miscarriage or a miscarriage. Gu Jiamei's face turned pale when she heard this, and she subconsciously held her husband's hand. Her husband held her hand back and patted the back of her hand to comfort her. As for Uncle Fan, medicated diet alone is not enough. It has to be combined with acupuncture. Acupuncture? Su Yiyen smiled slightly and calmly took out the acupuncture bag that he carried with him. When they saw it, their faces changed on the spot. Gu Jiamei's face was even paler, and she asked with difficulty, such a long needle, is it going to be inserted into old Fan's body? It is going to be inserted into his body, but don't be nervous. This needle is inserted into the human body's acupuncture points. My hands are steady, so it won't cause harm to Uncle Fan's body. Su Yiyen did not dare to say this half a month ago. Recently, he had inserted more needles into Ning Chirui's body, so he felt that his hands were much steadier and more confident. Young Master Ning, who had been pricked several times in just half a month. Can you not speak so righteously about using me as a test subject? But Gu Jiamei was still worried. She wanted to say something, but her husband stopped her. Since Yan Yan said so, he must be confident. Let's give it a try and trust her. Gu Jiamei opened her mouth but didn't say anything in the end. By the time the two of them finished discussing, Su Yiyen was almost done with her preparations. As the saying goes, unfamiliar the first time, familiar the second time. Today's Su Yiyen was no longer the novice from half a month ago who could stab a needle until it bled. His actions were steady and fast. In the blink of an eye, needles were inserted into the Mingmen, Shinyu, Shinkei, Sanyinjiu, and other acupoints. The two onlookers watched with pale faces. Gu Jiamei, in particular, wanted to say something several times, but she was afraid that her words would disturb Su Yiyen and hurt her husband instead. The complicated acupuncture and moxibustion treatment took about an hour, but in the eyes of the people in the room, it felt like a few years. Chapter 239. Okay, you'll be able to get up after a while. As soon as Su Yiyen said this, Gu Jiamei immediately rushed to her husband and asked anxiously and worriedly, "How are you? Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere?" Fan Weiming's expression was a little subtle. "I don't feel uncomfortable, but I feel a little hot." It's normal to feel hot. By the way, based on your current situation, it will take at least half a year. Drink less during this time. It's best if you don't drink at all. Fan Weiming was slightly startled and hurriedly said, "I haven't drunk in a long time." Although the culinary skills of the people in this era had regressed a lot, the wine culture was unexpectedly passed down. It was still a great weapon when socializing. Fan Weiming loved wine when he was young. In addition, he started from scratch at that time, so he had to drink with his clients at work. When he was older and wanted to have a child, he was told that he suffered from sperm deficiency, which was what Su Yiyen just said. It was not easy to have a child. And a certain factor in this disease was drinking too much. Fan Weiming regretted it and hadn't touched wine since then, until now. Keep it up. In addition, cough cough, you two can't have sex for half a year. Even if you really can't help it, remember to wear condoms. As soon as Su Yiyen said this, both of them blushed. It's only half a year. We're not that impatient. Su Yiyen smiled. Logically speaking, you two are husband and wife. It's natural for you to do this kind of thing. But as half a doctor, I have the obligation to tell you these taboos. As soon as Su Yiyen said this, the two of them blushed again. Qing Juanhao was also a little surprised. He looked at his niece who was smiling innocently and realized for the first time that his well-behaved little girl had such a little devil side. After Su Yiyen finished instructing the two of them, she was just about to put away the things on the table when she looked up and saw Gu Jiamei's slightly pale face. She then looked at her hand that was subconsciously covering her stomach. Su Yiyen's eyes flashed and she took the initiative to ask, "Aunt Gu, is your stomach hurting?" Gu Jiamei was stunned. She didn't expect Su Yiyen to notice her. After a moment of silence, he said embarrassedly, "It's an old problem. It hurts for a few days every month. It's okay." Su Yiyen's eyes flashed with a hint of understanding. Women with cold wombs would indeed have more severe menstrual cramps than ordinary women. Fan Weiming tightened his grip on his wife's hand, his eyes full of heartache. He knew that his wife would feel unwell for a few days every month. Before he came this time, he was a little hesitant. He wanted to wait for her to feel better before coming. However, Gu Jiamei couldn't wait any longer and insisted on coming over to take a look. Is sister-in-law having menstrual cramps? Qing Juanhao frowned as he overheard their conversation. I remember that Yanyan's restaurant has medicinal cuisine for this. After Fan Weiming and his wife heard his reminder, they suddenly raised their heads to look at Su Yiyan, their eyes filled with anticipation. We do, but there are too many people in front of us right now, so I'm afraid we can't make it for you right away. Even if we can make it now, it will take at least an hour. The light in Gu Jiamei's eyes gradually dimmed because of Su Yiyan's words. Unexpectedly, she heard Su Yiyan say, but it's not like there's no other way. If Aunt Gu doesn't mind, I can give you a needle. I promise that it'll take effect immediately. Su Yiyan blinked innocently and shook the long needle in front of her. Chapter 240. Gu Jiamei looked at the needle and refused in her heart. However, her stomach was so uncomfortable that she finally chose to compromise. Really? Really, it doesn't hurt? Gu Jiamei held her husband's hand tightly and looked nervous. It doesn't hurt. It really doesn't hurt. If you're afraid, just lean on my shoulder. I'll block it for you. You won't be afraid if you don't look. Fan Weiming said as he reached out to hold his wife's head and pressed her on his shoulder to prevent her from looking down. Su Yiyan looked at them as if they were facing a great enemy. Her heart did not waver, and she even wanted to laugh. To effectively suppress menstrual pain, the Sanninjio acupoint needed to be taken. This acupoint was 3 inches above the tip of the inner ankle and was located at the back of the tibia. Most people needed to use 4 fingers to measure the acupoint, but Su Yiyan could see it at a glance. The moment Gu Jiamei turned her head, she inserted the needle. After the needle was inserted, the strong stimulation twisted for a few seconds, and Gu Jiamei's tense nerves slowly relaxed. How is it? Do you still feel uncomfortable? Gu Jiamei subconsciously touched her abdomen. It seems. It doesn't hurt as much. Su Yiyan inserted the needle twice more. A few minutes later, when the needle was removed, Gu Jiamei's face was not as pale as before. It really doesn't hurt? It really doesn't hurt. Gu Jiamei looked at Su Yiyan with eager eyes again. Su Yiyan had pricked 2 people before, one was Ning Chirue and the other was Fan Weiming. Both of them were the type of people who needed to lengthen the trench and prick for a few sessions to see the effect. Without accurate instrument detection, no changes could be seen in a short time. Gu Jiamei's ability to cause an immediate effect with just 1 injection was a little tricky, but it was enough to surprise those who were originally skeptical of her. Looking at someone's eager eyes, Su Yiyan touched her nose and smiled faintly. It's only temporary. You still have to take the medicated diet. I'll give the prescription to the kitchen later. You have to take both of them for a few days to see the effect. Later, I'll adjust the prescription and dose appropriately with acupuncture. I have a lot of things to do here, so you have to pay attention and eat on time. Okay. We'll definitely follow your instructions and cooperate with you wholeheartedly. The way Gu Jiamei looked at Su Yiyan had completely changed. She had a premonition that the person in front of her might really be the turning point for her and her husband. After sending the 2 of them off, Su Yiyan heaved a sigh of relief. He pulled up the surveillance camera in the store and took a look. After Qing Juanhao brought the 2 out to order, he turned back and looked at Su Yiyan with sparkling eyes. Seeing him return, Su Yiyan was surprised. Jojo, why are you back? Don't we need to call Uncle Fan and the others? There's no need for that. They're too busy reporting the treatment results to the other patients in our group. They don't have time for me. Su Yiyan was speechless. Feedback on the treatment results? She felt that there would be more and more people who wanted children coming to her in the future. Was she forced to walk the path of giving away children? Qing Juanhao paused and said hesitantly, Yen, does it really not hurt when you put the needle in? Su Yiyen looked at him suspiciously. Why are you asking this? I just want to ask. My stomach hasn't been feeling well recently. Can this relieve it? Su Yiyen was speechless. Seeing that she didn't speak, Qing Juanhao asked tentatively, can't I? Yes. Then, I'll do it for you right away. Chapter 241. On the first day of the new store's opening, there were many people who came to try out the fresh food, poison testing. There were even more people who came to look for the streamer with the intention of eating. Lan Jiaye was one of them. As the first lucky viewer of Su Yiyen's live stream, he had no doubts about the medicinal cuisine in the restaurant. This time, he came over excitedly. Eating was just a convenience. He wanted to take this opportunity to meet the streamer. However, he was destined to be disappointed. Lan Jiaye didn't hurry to sit down after entering. Instead, he wandered around, trying to find the store manager. The staff in the store had been paying attention to this strange customer who had asked them where the store manager was as soon as he entered the store. Seeing that he didn't sit properly after entering the store and was wandering around, they had already thought that he was here to cause trouble. When he wandered around for the third time, he finally couldn't help but ask, Sir, are you looking for something? Do you need help? Lan Jiaye wasn't stupid. How could he not see that these employees were guarding against him? He touched his nose guiltily and said awkwardly, No. Nothing. I'm just walking around. Okay. Because the store is a little busy right now, there are a lot of people. In order to not affect your dining experience, I hope you can find a place to sit down as soon as possible. Our employees will serve you as soon as possible. Although the employee said this politely, he was implicitly reminding Lan Jiaye to find a place to sit down. If he continued to wander around, they might have to take some measures. Although Lan Jiaye wanted to find someone, he didn't want to have a conflict with the employees in the store. Thinking of the streamer's swift and decisive action of checking your IP address and banning your entire family, Lan Jiaye didn't dare to wander around anymore. He quickly found a place to sit down and was as quiet as a chicken. At this time, the store was already full. The desperate bald and auntie parties took up almost half of the seats in the store. Lan Jiaye searched for a long time before he finally found an empty seat in a small corner near the second floor. Miss, you see that there are no other seats in the store. Is it convenient for you to set up a table together? Lan Jiaye felt a little embarrassed after saying this. Why did it sound like he was chatting up a girl? Su Yiyen was bored of being alone in the house, so she came out to take a breather and drink tea. She didn't expect someone to run over to talk to her. She raised her head and looked at Lan Jiaye in confusion. The waiter who came with Lan Jiaye was shocked. Sir, you, have a seat. Su Yiyen gave the waiter a look and did not reject Lan Jiaye's suggestion to set up a table. The waiter reacted quickly. He coughed lightly and said, Sir, this is the medicinal cuisine that the manager has ordered for you. Please confirm. Lan Jiaye had almost blind trust in this shop. He confirmed the order without hesitation and paid for it. After sending the waiter away, he started a conversation with Su Yiyen as if they were close friends. Miss, are you also a viewer of the streamer's live streaming room? Su Yiyen raised an eyebrow. Audience? Aren't you? Su Yiyen shook her head. She was not a spectator, but a streamer. Lan Jiaye looked disappointed. Then why are you here? This shop is newly opened. The decorations are beautiful and the menu is special, so I came in to take a look. Why? Can't I eat here if I'm not a viewer of your live streaming room? Chapter 242. Su Yiyen lowered her head and sipped her rose tea. She asked casually, Why do you think so? Are there a lot of people in your live stream room? Yes, of course. You don't know how amazing the streamer, who is also the manager of this shop, is. She is the kindest and most gentle person in the world. She selflessly donated the seeds to the research institute so that they can grow them in large quantities to serve the public. She also often holds lucky draws in her live stream room and gives away her medicinal cuisine to the lucky viewers. She even opened this shop because she considered the difficult illnesses of the viewers in her live stream room. Lan Jiaye almost immediately became a fanboy at the mention of the streamer he admired the most. He immediately praised Su Yiyan for a few minutes. Su Yiyan's expression changed from curiosity to embarrassment. She knew that she wasn't as great as Lan Jiaye made her out to be. Her original intention of starting a live stream was to increase her favorability and to use her skill points to treat Hua Chenhuan's leg. Later, she chose to give the seeds to the research institute for 2 reasons. First, she wanted to seek protection for herself and her family. Second, she felt that it was cute and warm for the viewers to work hard to protect someone they had never met. Later, when she decided to open this shop, it might have been because she and Hua Chenhuan had suffered a lot of malice from this world in her previous life. In this life, when she felt the kindness of others, her heart would unconsciously soften and she would want to do something for them and for herself. Even so, whether it was the seeds or the shop, she was paid for it. She didn't feel that what she did was worthy of gratitude. Lan Jiaye lowered his head to look at the menu on the table. He smiled and said, "I've looked through it carefully. Although the price of the medicinal cuisine here is slightly higher than that of a high-class restaurant, this amount of money is negligible compared to the value of the medicinal cuisine itself. The streamer could have sold it directly to those rich people who are troubled by illness or auctioned it at a high price online. But she didn't do that. She's really a very, very good person." Lan Jiaye was like a true fan who chased after a celebrity. He tried his best to tell everyone he met that his idol was the best in the world. Little did he know that the person sitting in front of him now was his idol. Su Yiyan coughed awkwardly and tried to change the topic. "So, you came here today to have a meal or to look for someone?" "I'm looking for someone and eating while I'm at it. But I've been looking for a long time and I still can't find the streamer. This doesn't make sense." Su Yiyan looked at his sorrowful expression, as if he had missed out on the whole world, and said meaningfully, "How can you be so sure that she will be in the shop today? Today is the first day of the new store's opening. As the store manager, the streamer will definitely show up. Furthermore." "And what? Don't you see the flowers in front of the shop and on the street?" Su Yiyan was slightly startled. She did not understand how this had anything to do with those flowers outside. What happened to those flowers? Lan Jiaye looked around. After making sure that no one was paying attention to them, he sneaked up to Su Yiyan and said, "When I came in, I asked the waiter. I heard that the flowers outside were sent by the host's fiancé." Su Yiyan blushed when she heard that. "So what? This means that the streamer has a very good relationship with her fiancé. It's very sweet. So she will definitely come today." Chapter 243. Su Yiyan was stunned by Lan Jiaye's twisted brain circuit and his illogical yet righteous intuition. After a while, she laughed and said, "You're in such a hurry to find her. Do you have something to say to her?" "Not really. I just want to thank her in person." "Thank her?" Su Yiyan frowned. "Thank her for what?" "Thank her for giving me the medicinal cuisine and a lot of hawthorn. With these things, my grandmother's appetite improved a lot. Our family is very grateful to her." "Hawthorn? You are?" Su Yiyan was stunned for a moment, but she quickly remembered who the person in front of her was. She had only given her hawthorn to one person, and that was the person who had asked her for the medicinal cuisine during her first live stream. After that, he had asked for hawthorn from her. "So what if I don't like you?" Looking at his ID, she had thought that he was a particularly unconventional teenager. She didn't expect him to be so good-looking in person. He was just a little too familiar. Lan Jiaye saw that Su Yiyan was only halfway through her sentence and blinked curiously. "What is it?" "Nothing." Lan Jia didn't suspect anything inside. I'm also curious about what she looks like. I want to meet her. Su Yiyan sipped her tea and said calmly, you don't know what she looks like. The host hasn't shown her face during her live stream. Have you ever thought that she doesn't show her face because she doesn't want to be disturbed? She doesn't want people to know what she looks like. Lan Jia's expression stiffened, as if he had just thought of this possibility. Su Yiyan drank her tea while watching him scratch his ears and cheeks in confusion. Her eyes were full of smiles. At this moment, Su Yiyan suddenly saw a familiar figure from the corner of her eye and stood up. Lan Jia was shocked by her action and looked up at her in confusion. What's wrong? Nothing. Take a seat. I'll leave the meeting first. She didn't wait for Lan Jia to react and quickly got up to leave. Why are you here? Su Yiyan looked at Hua Chenhuan, who suddenly appeared at the entrance of the restaurant. She was pleasantly surprised. Hua Chenhuan did not answer. Instead, she asked, am I not welcome? Of course not. Su Yiyan looked at Hua Chenhuan with some heartache. You don't like to go out, especially to such a lively place. That was in the past. Hua Chenhuan took the initiative to hold Su Yiyan's hand. I didn't like to go out in the past because there was no one to accompany me. I don't like to go to crowded places because I don't like the way people look at me. I feel like I don't fit in with the crowd. Hua Chenhuan paused for a moment, a rare smile appearing on her usually serious face. But now, I have you. You will accompany me. It made me feel like I could also be a part of the fun. Su Yiyan's heart trembled slightly. She subconsciously held Hua Chenhuan's hand and smiled. Yes, I will be with you. I will always be with you. Yes. Let's go in. I'll take you to the private room. Okay. Su Yiyan took Hua Chenhuan to a private room in the restaurant. There were many people in the restaurant at this time, and most of them had already eaten. They didn't care about anything else, so no one noticed what they were doing. A waiter who was relatively free saw another guest enter the restaurant. Moreover, the guest was personally brought in by his boss. It was most likely an important guest. He wanted to go in and help, but Su Yiyan stopped him. Chapter 244. The waiter was slightly startled and left with doubts. You were kicked out? The foreman who was in charge of the outside saw her return and asked with a faint smile. From your tone, you don't seem surprised. Who was that man just now? Why did the little boss have to serve him personally? The foreman smiled and pointed to the flowers outside. Did you see those flowers? Yes, they were delivered early in the morning. There are so many flowers on the whole street. How could I not see them? Do you know who sent them? Didn't the person say that he was the little boss's fiancé? After the little girl finished speaking, she suddenly seemed to think of something and widened her eyes. You mean that man is? The foreman didn't say anything and only gave her a look that said, figure it out yourself. On the other side, Hua Chenhuan saw Su Yiyan drive the waiter away. His eyes flashed and he asked knowingly, you drove the waiter away. Who's going to serve us? Su Yiyan couldn't help laughing. Are you satisfied with me, the store manager, serving you personally? What if I'm not satisfied? How dare he not be satisfied with the store manager's service? Had he been indulged too much recently and wanted to go to heaven? Su Yiyan pretended to be unhappy and snorted. If you're not satisfied, ask the waiter to come back. Su Yiyan stared at the person in front of him with a look that said, if you dare to say yes, I'll go out and find the waiter right now. Hua Chenhuan accurately avoided this question. The customer has been sitting here for a while, but no one has come to ask what he wants. It seems that the service attitude of your store is not very good. Is there anything I can help you with? What do you recommend? Our store is an authentic medicinal cuisine restaurant. The medicinal cuisine in our store has a significant effect on difficult and complicated diseases such as baldness, kidney deficiency, and infertility. Considering your personal situation, I recommend our store's sete for you. First, eat a course of treatment, then change to set B, another course of treatment, then change to set C. Hua Chenhuan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Was this girl planning to take advantage of him and make him order all the set meals in their restaurant? After eating these set meals, I guarantee that no matter what illness you have, it will be cured. If you have an illness, it will be cured. If you don't have an illness, it will strengthen your body. There are only benefits and no harm. It's definitely not a loss. After Su Yiyan finished his nonsense, he took a deep breath and smiled at Hua Chenhuan. What do you think, dear guest? From what you said, it seems like you want to develop me into a long-term customer of your shop. I bought so many things from your store. Are there any discounts or benefits? Benefits? Su Yiyan's eyes turned slightly. Of course. What benefits? If the customer spends more than 10,000 yuan in the store manager will be rewarded with a kiss on the cheek. If the customer spends more than 100,000 yuan, the store manager will be rewarded with a kiss on the forehead. If the customer spends more than 1 million yuan, the store manager will be rewarded with a kiss on the lips, and so on. If the customer spends more than 10,000 yuan, the store manager will be rewarded with an IP. It will be effective forever, but no returns or exchanges are accepted. Please be careful when placing your order. Hua Chenhuan never thought that there would be such a benefit. He immediately narrowed his eyes dangerously and said with a chuckle, "Is this a benefit for all customers who spend more than 10,000 yuan?" Chapter 245. Hua Chenhuan looked at Su Yiyan's innocent face and tried hard to promote himself. His eyes darkened slightly, and a fire suddenly rose in his heart, almost igniting his whole body. It sounds good, but such a big business can't be invested just because you want to. Empty promises are useless. You have to give me something practical to make me sure that this is not a losing business. Something practical? Su Yiyan raised her eyebrows slightly, leaned over with a faint smile, and kissed him on the cheek. Are you talking about this? Hua Chenhuan had already prepared himself before she leaned over. He narrowed his eyes and kissed Su Yiyan's lips before she left. Oh. Su Yiyan's eyes narrowed slightly, and a flash of surprise flashed across her eyes. After a short pause, she suddenly struggled. No, oh, it's too much. Hua Chenhuan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He really didn't know whether to say that she was too immersed in the role or that she was deliberately disappointing him. It doesn't matter. I'll make it up in a while. I'll make it up to your IP customers. Su Yiyan wasn't so easily fooled. She simply sat on Hua Chenhuan and said angrily, "Words are no proof. Our shop doesn't accept the service of getting on the bus first and then buying tickets later. We also don't accept credit. Please pay the membership fee as soon as possible, or else what?" Su Yiyan hugged Hua Chenhuan's neck and threatened him. "I'll remove you from the list of IP customers." Hua Chenhuan looked at Su Yiyan with a dangerous gaze. "If you remove me, who else do you want to accept as your IP customers?" Su Yiyan didn't panic. She lowered her head and touched Hua Chenhuan's forehead. She looked at him and said, "Leave it empty. It's better to have nothing than to have something substandard." Hua Chenhuan's expression became better. Just as he was about to say something, the door of the private room was suddenly opened. "Yen, I heard from the receptionist that someone," with a bang, the door of the private room slammed into the wall and bounced back a little, revealing the two people who were tightly hugging each other inside the private room. Qing Juanhao stopped abruptly. A few seconds later, he screamed like a groundhog, "What are you doing?" The two of them, who were originally passionate about role-playing and never tired of it, were instantly awakened. Su Yiyan jumped down from Hua Chenhuan's body and said awkwardly, "Uncle, it's not what you think." "If it's not what I think, then what is it?" "How do you know what I'm thinking? How do you know that what you said is what I think it is?" "Wait, what were you guys doing just now?" "Ha ha ha ha." Qing Juanhao was so flustered that he covered his face with his hands. It was as if his carefully raised cabbage had crawled into the pigsty by itself, and he, the vegetable farmer, had no choice but to accept the blow with tears in his eyes. Su Yiyan. Oh no, another one has gone crazy. Ahem, uncle, calm down first. It's really not what you think it is. It's just that my hair accidentally got caught on the button on his shirt, and he helped me take it off. As Su Yiyan spoke, she subtly tugged at Hua Chenhuan, asking him to chime in. Hua Chenhuan. She wanted to say something, but stopped. Qing Juanhao had a suspicious look on his face. Really? More real than a pearl. Qing Juanhao's expression eased a little, but then he suddenly seemed to realize something. He screamed again, "You're lying. There are no buttons on his shirt today." Su Yiyan. Chapter 246. Hua Chenhuan's clothes were indeed buttonless today. Considering that he had to match it with the scarf that Su Yiyan had given him, Hua Chenhuan did not wear his usual suit today. Instead, he wore a casual pullover. Because of this, he had wanted to say something but stopped himself. He did not know how to cover up his silly wife's lie that was destined to fail. Qing Juanhao had already been provoked by the scene when he barged in. Now that he learned that Su Yiyan had lied to him, he said bitterly, "Yan Yan, you actually lied to your uncle. Just to cover up your relationship with this guy, you even lied to your uncle. You weren't like this before." Qing Juanhao glanced at Hua Chenhuan as he said this. His eyes seemed to say, "It's all your fault. You've led our family's honest, cute, innocent, and kind child astray." Hua Chenhuan, who was staring at the big black pot flying at her, was speechless. "Uncle, you're exaggerating. Chenhuan and I are a couple. We haven't seen each other for so long. Now that we finally see each other, isn't it normal for us to be intimate in the house?" "But uncle, how could you barge in without saying anything? You scared us." Qing Juanhao, who felt that he had been blamed, could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. His face darkened as he said, "Even if you two are a couple, you're not officially married yet. You can't be too intimate." Su Yiyan blushed slightly and giggled. "We'll be married in 2 days. 2 more days won't make a difference." Hua Chenhuan's lips curled up slightly. She was obviously looking forward to the wedding that was soon to come. Qing Juanhao was speechless. Not only did the cabbage that he raised jump into the pigsty, but it also eagerly ran into the pig's mouth. What should he do? How infuriating. "Uncle, you're right. We shouldn't be too intimate before we're married. It's my fault. It's your fault to begin with. Don't think that I can't tell that you're taking advantage of Yan Yan. You're the type of person who wants to pretend to be innocent after taking advantage of others. What's wrong? Now you're saying that you shouldn't be too close to Yan Yan? Is it wrong for you to be close to him?" Hua Chenhuan, who had been ridiculed for no reason, sure enough, no matter how wise and powerful the men of the Cheng and Su families were outside, they were not to be offended. However, when it came to the matters of the women in the family, they were like lit firecrackers. They did not recognize their own family, and whoever got close to them would be unlucky. Uncle, don't talk too much. We really didn't do anything." Qing Juanhao snorted coldly. "It's because I came too fast that I didn't make it in time." Su Yiyan. "You're right." Not daring to continue on this topic, Su Yiyan hurriedly changed the topic. "Uncle, why did you suddenly come to find me?" "It's nothing. I heard from the receptionist that your friend was here, so I wanted to come and take a look. In the end, I didn't expect to see you as soon as I came in." Luckily I came quickly. Otherwise, in broad daylight, in such a public place, without even locking the door, you dared. There are so many people outside." Qing Juanhao got angrier as he spoke. Su Yiyan didn't think too much of it at first, but the more she listened, the more she felt that something was wrong. Her face flushed red. No, 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 uncle, you're really thinking too much. We really just wanted to kiss and hug each other. We definitely didn't have such thoughts in broad daylight. Please stop your dangerous thoughts. Chapter 247. Stop, stop. Uncle, let's not talk about this anymore. Su Yiyan looked at Qing Juanhao almost pleadingly, like a soft little kitten, pitifully begging to be let go. Qing Juanhao choked. In the end, he snorted reluctantly and did not continue the topic. Su Yiyan breathed a sigh of relief. She turned to look at Hua Chenhuan and said, Uncle, there are so many customers in front. Don't you need to keep an eye on them? I can take care of them here. Qing Juanhao was so angry that he almost laughed. The anger that he had suppressed with great difficulty rose again. He snorted and said, there are so many people in front. I don't need to keep an eye on them all the time. But you too. Why are you in such a hurry to send me away? What do you want? Su Yiyan looked at her uncle's expression that said, I've already seen through what you want to do. You'd better behave yourselves. The corner of her mouth twitched. She said helplessly, Uncle, you're really thinking too much. I'm just worried that there are too many people in front. Today is the first day of the restaurant's opening. Li Jingwen and the others are inexperienced. If something really happens, they won't be as skillful as you. Qing Juanhao still wanted to say something, but Hua Chenhuan had already grabbed Su Yiyan's hand. She took the initiative to give him a way out and said, It's okay. There are many people in your restaurant. If something really happens and you can't solve it, they will definitely come to you and Uncle to discuss it. It just so happens that this is the first time I'm meeting Uncle. Let's sit down and have a meal together and chat. Qing Juanhao's face darkened. He wanted to say that they were not even married yet, but because Hua Chenhuan had just given him a way out, he could not go too far. He could only reluctantly warn them, just talk. Don't touch me. The two people who were secretly holding hands, as soon as Qing Juanhao sat down, the two of them could not be as lovey-dovey as before. Su Yiyan made a phone call and ordered some medicinal cuisine suitable for Hua Chenhuan's physique. As soon as the food arrived, Su Yiyan did not hesitate to pile a lot of food into Hua Chenhuan's bowl. Seeing this, Qing Juanhao felt sour the whole time. He felt as if he had suddenly become bald, and the top of his head was shining brightly. I was going to ask someone to deliver it to you later, but I didn't expect you to come first. These are all made by my new employees. Try them and see if they're different from mine. Hua Chenhuan nodded and tasted a few mouthfuls. She said honestly, it's not as good as yours. This was a familiar statement. She didn't know if she really felt that way or if Hua Chenhuan's filter was playing tricks on her. The corners of Su Yiyan's lips curled up slightly as he defended the good seedlings of his own family. It's already good that they've done so well in just a few days. If I train them a little more, the shop can be handed over to them a little more in the future. I can also be a little more free. Okay. Qing Juanhao saw that the two of them were talking as if there was no one else around, and he was left out in the cold. His face darkened slightly. Cough, 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 Su Yiyan was slightly startled. This very familiar cough made her quickly realize that she had neglected her uncle. She hurriedly picked up a few dishes for him. Qing Juanhao's expression became better. While eating the dishes that Su Yiyan had picked up for him, he secretly sized up this future junior. He was good-looking, and it could be seen that he really cared about Yan Yan. Yan Yan also had a good impression of him. His family background could be considered to be well-matched with Yan Yan's. It was a pity that his legs. Chapter 248. Qing Juanhao, who realized that he had discovered the truth, looked at Hua Chenhuan with jealousy in his eyes. After hesitating for a moment, he couldn't help but ask, Is your leg still under treatment? As soon as Qing Juanhao said that, both of them paused. Su Yiyan looked at Hua Chenhuan nervously, afraid that he would be angry and sad because of her uncle's words. Hua Chenhuan saw her worry and took the initiative to shake her hand under the table. Not now. The hospital doesn't have any treatment methods for the time being. Qing Juanhao was slightly stunned. Before he could say anything, Su Yiyan said, "It's only temporary." Hua Chenhuan was stunned. He turned his head and met Su Yiyan's determined and serious eyes. "It's only temporary." Hua Chenhuan's heart skipped a beat. He replied in a low voice, "Okay." Qing Juanhao, who was ignored and stuffed with dog food after saying a few words. Well, there was no need to ask. It must be like this. Wasn't he just a bastard? How could his Yan be so loyal to him? The more Qing Juanhao thought about it, the angrier he got. In the end, he turned his anger into appetite and successfully stuffed himself. After that, without needing Su Yiyan to chase him away, Qing Juanhao didn't want to stay and eat dog food. He touched his full stomach and left the small private room as if he was escaping. However, after lunch, Su Yiyan and Hua Chenhuan still had work to do, so they didn't stay in the restaurant for too long. When Su Yiyan sent Hua Chenhuan out, she suddenly handed a bag to him. "Here, this is for you." "What is it?" Hua Chenhuan took the bag and glanced at it. He found that it was actually a scarf. A crooked and strange-looking white knitted scarf. Hua Chenhuan's doubts and astonishment disappeared in a flash. Suddenly, a bold guess appeared in her mind. "Did you knit this yourself?" Su Yiyan lowered her head in embarrassment. "It's a little ugly. Make do with it for now. When I'm more familiar with it, I'll knit a more beautiful one for you." Hua Chenhuan subconsciously tightened her grip on the bag. "No, I like it very much. Can you help me put it on?" Su Yiyan met Hua Chenhuan's gaze. She blushed slightly as she took off the scarf around Hua Chenhuan's neck and put on the one she knitted for him. Hua Chenhuan's previous linen scarf complemented her clothes very well. Now that she had suddenly changed into this one, it was like a handsome man suddenly being put in a gunny sack. If it weren't for Hua Chenhuan's own good looks, he would have turned from a rich man to a rich man in a second. Su Yiyan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She couldn't bear to look at it directly. "Sure enough, it's still too ugly. I'll take it back and knit it again." Hua Chenhuan held Su Yiyan's hand that reached out to grab the scarf. "No, it's very warm. It's very good." Su Yiyan blushed. She was embarrassed that the thing she gave out was too ugly, but she also felt sweet that Hua Chenhuan didn't mind that her hand was too clumsy. Hua Chenhuan stared at Su Yiyan's face, but his hand quietly touched her fingers that were rougher than the last time they met. He said in a hoarse voice, "Why did you suddenly think of knitting a scarf for me?" Su Yiyan withdrew her hand guiltily and didn't dare to look at Hua Chenhuan's eyes. "Last time when we went shopping together, didn't we meet a couple?" At that time, the girl said that she wanted to knit a scarf for her boyfriend. At that time, I was thinking that buying a scarf was not as good as knitting one yourself. Chapter 249. Hua Chenhuan immediately understood what she meant. He reached out to hold her hand again and said solemnly, "I'm very happy that you're so considerate, but next time, don't do something that you're not good at. I don't want to see you get hurt." When Su Yiyan heard his words, she wanted to dig a hole and hide in it. Perhaps it was because her cooking skills had been upgraded too smoothly, but she was really messed up when it came to knitting sweaters. Other people were poking at the wool, but she was poking at her own hand. Even though the needle used to knit the towel had been rounded, she couldn't stand poking at it for a few days. "I know. I'll be careful next time." "Okay," Hua Chenhuan said in a low voice as he sat in the car with the scarf, "See you in 3 days." The smile on Su Yiyan's face immediately deepened. 3 days later was the day of their official wedding. In the next 3 days, they definitely wouldn't be able to see each other again. But it didn't matter. The short separation now was for a longer time in the future. In the end, Su Yiyan couldn't help but lean over and kiss Hua Chenhuan. She smiled and said, "Dear customer, once the store manager sells something, he will not return it. Remember to pick me up early in 3 days. After she finished speaking, she didn't wait for Hua Chenhuan's reaction. She turned around and ran away, just like the scene when they first got engaged. Hua Chenhuan touched the place where he was kissed. The corners of his mouth curved slightly, and he replied in a low voice, "Okay." Early the next morning, Yu Zian and the others were shocked to hear that the young master, who had always been unwilling to leave the old mansion and only held high-level meetings online, had taken the initiative to go to the company to take a look. He wanted to personally listen to the company's high-level executives' in-depth quarterly performance reports. All of a sudden, the executives of the companies under Hua Chenhuan felt insecure. They were afraid that the big boss would criticize them in person because they hadn't done well recently. Would they be able to come back in one piece? As a result, as Hua Chenhuan's most favored and trusted subordinates, Yu Zian and the others were surrounded by many anxious executives as soon as they arrived at the company. "Mr. Yu, what happened? Why did the big boss suddenly come to the company? What kind of high-level meeting is this? Did someone make a big mistake at work recently and got caught by the boss? Little Gu, tell me honestly. Did boss suffer some kind of shock? Previously, the meetings were only held at home. Why did they suddenly have to meet face to face?" Although Uncle Hua had been in the company for a long time, he still felt weak in the knees when he stood in front of President Hua. Was he really okay? Can you give me a heads up so that I can be mentally prepared? Gu Xiaoyang and the other two were also troubled by the group of people's questions. They laughed dryly and said, "Don't be too nervous. Young master just wants to gather everyone together to do a year-end report. He doesn't mean anything else. Don't scare yourselves." Everyone frowned slightly, not knowing if they should believe his words. Just then, someone suddenly asked, "Manager Zhua, you look so calm. Do you know something?" Everyone's eyes immediately focused on Zhua Yanbai. As the only person who had been by Hua Chenhuan's side yesterday and witnessed the whole thing, Zhua Yanbai was indeed very calm. Chapter 250. The executives present were dumbfounded. Scarf? What does this have to do with boss's scarf? Zhua Yanbai could not reveal too much at once. He coughed softly and said, "That's all I can tell you." This. The executives wanted to ask more, but they were interrupted by Gu Xiaoyang. Since Yanbai said so, he must have his reasons. Believe it or not, it's up to you. In short, don't say that young master's scarf is ugly if you don't want to die. If you want to live, praise young master's scarf more. That's all. Since Gu Xiaoyang had already said so much, it was not appropriate for them to continue asking. They just silently pondered what the scarf that he had emphasized so much was. Their doubts were quickly answered. The moment they saw Hua Chenhuan, the executives present finally understood why Zhua Yanbai reminded them not to say that boss's scarf was ugly. It was because this scarf was really a little ugly. Not to mention the size of the stitches, there were no patterns on it. Fortunately, Hua Chenhuan was now wearing it around her neck when she met them. If she took it off, the whole scarf would be slanted up and down. This made the perfectionists and obsessive-compulsive patients, who were used to seeing beautiful scarves knitted with precision instruments, feel very uncomfortable. However, for the sake of their lives, they could not say anything no matter how uncomfortable they felt. They did not even dare to show it on their faces. Hua Chenhuan did not care about their evasive gazes. She went straight to the point and said, "This should be the first time in many years that we are sitting face to face in an office like this." When the executives heard this, their hearts could not help but tremble. Then, they heard Hua Chenhuan say, "You don't have to be nervous. I called you here today to listen to your reports on the development and profits of the company's various departments in the past quarter and the past year." Although she said this, just sitting face to face with Hua Chenhuan was already a psychological battle for most of the executives in the room. How could they not be nervous? Hua Chenhuan's gaze swept over everyone and finally settled on Yu Zian. "You go first. The rest of you can continue." Many people instantly cast sympathetic looks at Yu Zian. They all worked under the same boss, so they had heard about what had happened to the live streaming website that Uzian was in charge of. It wasn't easy for them to spend a lot of resources to bring up the number one sister in the food section. This sister also had the intention to develop in the entertainment industry. They thought that she would bring a lot of traffic to the website. Who knew that once a person became popular, they would become arrogant? After becoming arrogant, they would seek death. They had forcefully destroyed most of their reputation and caused the resources of the website to go down the drain. This was a huge mistake for Uzian as the person in charge. Today, he was the first to be singled out by the big boss. He was afraid that the bird that stood out would be shot down. He was unlucky. However, what these people didn't know was that the calmest person in the room was none other than Uzian. This was because he had long since latched onto the golden thigh of someone who was immune to death. He had nothing to fear. Chapter 251. All the supervisors in the room watched as their boss's right-hand man spent the next 5 or 6 minutes flattering a new female streamer on their company's live streaming platform. They all felt a trace of doubt in their hearts. Did this guy take the wrong medicine? After their doubts, many people couldn't help but feel a little nervous and fearful. Boss Yu, who was in the top position, suddenly went crazy for no reason. Boss Yu would definitely be unhappy if he heard this. Once the city gates caught fire, how could they, the fish in the moat, survive? For a moment, everyone in the room was in a state of panic. Unexpectedly, after Uzian finished flattering him, Boss Yu didn't get angry as they had expected. Instead, he agreed and said, "Well, that's good. Keep up the good work, everyone." Uzian nodded reservedly and smiled slightly. "It's because Miss is a good person. It's our company's blessing to be able to sign her." Hua Chenhuan looked up and glanced at him. She seemed to be a little dissatisfied with him calling her Miss, but she didn't say anything. She just replied in a low voice, "Yes. Everyone." What the F***ck? Other than the two people involved, Zui Yanbai and Gu Xiaoyang were the only two people who knew the truth. They couldn't help but look at Uzian with disdain. Using the young mistress as a shield, this guy was too shameless. Uzian sat down leisurely under the shocked and disdainful gazes of the people in the room. He thought happily that it felt good to ride on someone's coattails. No wonder everyone wanted to ride on someone's coattails these days. As soon as Uzian sat down, another senior executive next to him stood up spontaneously and reported his work in a well-behaved manner. Everything seemed to be slowly getting on the right track. What Uzian had said before, on the contrary, seemed to stand out. The atmosphere in the room gradually calmed down. Only the trembling voices of the senior executives could be heard faintly. Hua Chenhuan sat in the main seat, but she seemed a little absent-minded. From time to time, she touched the soft tail under the scarf. Until one of the department managers said that his department had made a certain loss in the previous quarter, and that the total revenue and expenditure for the whole year were barely balanced, or even a small loss. This was quite normal for other companies. After all, if there were profits in business, there would be losses. As long as the losses were not too big, it would not be too difficult. But in this situation, it made people feel as if a storm was coming. The atmosphere in the office became inexplicably heavy. Almost everyone's eyes were focused on Hua Chenhuan. The department head met Hua Chenhuan's emotionless gaze. Cold sweat trickled down his forehead, and his eyes were filled with despair. This suffocating silence lasted for about 10 seconds. The supervisor swallowed hard and suddenly thought of something. He said tentatively, "Ahem. President, the scarf you're wearing today is really nice." As soon as he said this, the atmosphere in the office became even more subtle. The supervisor regretted it the moment he finished speaking. Why would he mention a scarf in such an occasion? Wasn't that just asking for trouble? Who else would he criticize if not you? However, to everyone's surprise, the big boss, who everyone thought would not respond, replied, "Yes, I think so too." Everyone in the room suddenly widened their eyes. Some of the people with weaker mental fortitude could not help but gasp. Chapter 252. The supervisor's body stiffened. He couldn't tell if Hua Chenhuan was happy or not. He had no choice but to brace himself and say, "It's beautiful. Look at this material, it's especially expensive and soft. It must be very warm around your neck. Also, the design of this scarf looks very complicated. The person who made this scarf must have put in a lot of effort to be able to patiently make such a big scarf." As soon as he finished speaking, Zui Yanbai and the others couldn't help but want to give this person a thumbs up. It was one thing to praise the scarf, but he had even self-taught himself to praise the person who made the scarf. He had hit the bullseye. What a genius. What Zui Yanbai and the others didn't know was that this person had really hit the nail on the head. Because he couldn't praise the scarf, he had to find another way to praise the person who made the scarf. Obviously, he had made the right bet. After listening to his words, everyone present keenly felt that the big boss's face had suddenly softened. What was the secret of this scarf? How could it make the big boss change his expression? Don't do it again. Go back and write a summary report and a guarantee for next year. If you continue to lose money next year. Hua Chenhuan glanced at him. The company doesn't keep idle people. The supervisor's eyes lit up. He hurriedly said, "Thank you, President. I will definitely write it well." This punishment seemed severe, but it was actually much better than usual. Everyone in the company knew that the company didn't keep idle people. Most of the people who could sit in the top positions of the company were very capable. These people didn't mean that they couldn't make mistakes, but they couldn't make mistakes in principle. Moreover, they had to bring benefits to the company. If they couldn't do it, it could only mean that they weren't capable enough. Although they wouldn't be fired, if it was serious, they would have to voluntarily give up their position and give it to other capable people. This supervisor's matter would have been investigated for a long time under normal circumstances. Now, he was simply asked to write 2 reports and it was over. It was tantamount to a pie falling from the sky. The people present weren't fools. They finally understood the good intentions behind Zui Yanbai's words. As a result, there would always be people who would intentionally or unintentionally praise Hua Chenhuan's scarf during the reporting process. The atmosphere was unexpectedly harmonious for a while. Relying on the scarves to protect their bodies, the group of senior executives finally got through the reporting difficulty without any mishap. Hua Chenhuan glanced at the crowd and asked, "What about the piece of land that Hua Qihan and his son wanted?" After many rounds of negotiations, they have already obtained that piece of land and are preparing for a new round of property development. Very good. Find an opportunity to get someone to leak out the problem with the underground. Send a copy of the previous exploration report to the higher-ups and lead them to investigate. The person in charge of this matter felt a chill in his heart. He lit a candle for the family Hua and his son, who were about to be unlucky. Their big boss was really efficient in dealing with these weird relatives without any hesitation. He believed that it wouldn't be long before the family Hua was in big trouble. However, they couldn't blame their boss for being ruthless. It was just that that family was too inhumane. Karma was just retribution. Find more work for them in the next 2 days. Don't let them run around and disgust people. He had been looking forward to the wedding for so long. He would never allow that family to spoil the fun. Then your wedding with Miss Su, Hua Chenhuan knew what Zui Yanbai wanted to ask. She smiled foolishly and said, "I didn't invite them. Neither did the Su family." Chapter 253. When they came out of the meeting room, the group of glamorous, capable, and domineering elites in the industry looked as if they had just been fished out of the water. Their faces were pale and their backs were wet. "You scared me to death just now. I thought I was going to die here today." "Who said you weren't? When the boss looked at you just now, I was sweating." That look in his eyes was really scary. "But you're smart. You suddenly mentioned the boss's scarf. I was desperate. I suddenly remembered what managers was said before and couldn't help but take a gamble. As soon as he said this, everyone's eyes fell on Zui Yanbai. Managers what kind of artifact is the boss's scarf? How could the boss value it so much? It's not an artifact. It's just that the person who knitted it is someone the boss cares about. Love the boss, love the boss. Someone he cares about. Could it be? A few of them wanted to ask more, but Zui Yanbai and the others had already left. That afternoon, the managers' phones vibrated at the same time. When they opened it, they realized that it was a rare status update from the boss that they had paid special attention to. When they clicked on it, they saw the familiar picture of the scarf. Big boss, does this scarf look good? Everyone, after all, they had complimented it once before. Now that they had experience, their compliments were more sincere than before. In an instant, the post was filled with a bunch of flattery from the higher-ups. A few minutes later, the corners of Hua Chenhuan's lips curled up slightly as he looked at the rainbow farts. Satisfied, he picked the one with the most likes and asked where the scarf had been bought. He replied, "My wife knitted it for me. I couldn't buy it." Everyone. Damn, so it was knitted by the madam herself. No wonder the boss treasured it so much. They really couldn't tell that the boss, who had such a terrifying aura, was actually doting on his wife at home. What a surprise. Su Yiyan, who had no idea that she had attracted the attention of all the higher-ups in Hua Chenhuan's company, suddenly felt her nose itch and couldn't help but sneeze loudly. Oh, who's talking about me behind my back? While Hua Chenhuan was secretly showing off her love, the reputation of the first wave of customers in Su Yiyan's restaurant was finally revealed. The real world was different from the internet. Even if there were people from the research institute who spoke up for Su Yiyan, most of the people still held a wait-and-see attitude and did not dare to try it out. When the first batch of diners came out and reported how delicious the food was and what changes happened to their bodies after eating it, many people began to get restless. This restlessness ushered in a small eruption the next day. The first was a middle-aged balding man who posted a comparison of pictures before and after he went to the carnival. Before this, his head was completely bald, and it could be said that not even a blade of grass grew on it. But this morning, there was actually a lot of black stubble on his bald head. Although he might not be able to feel it, at least it was growing. As soon as this person posted it, many people's first reaction was not surprise but doubt. They felt that this was a marketing strategy of the carnival restaurant, deliberately leading people to spend money in their restaurant. Chapter 254. With so much tap water, the restaurant's reputation was quickly improved. Even if some people suspected that they were paid to be a water army, it still couldn't stop the patients who were troubled by their illnesses from being moved by such a large number of positive comments. After a period of psychological struggle, many people finally made up their minds. When they gathered in front of the restaurant from all directions, they suddenly heard two pieces of bad news. One was that the restaurant was limited to 300 orders a day, and this order was now scheduled until next week. The other was, because the store manager is getting married, the restaurant will be closed for 3 days and will continue to open on XX. This announcement is hereby made. Please forgive the guests. A group of guests who came because of the restaurant's reputation looked at the signboard in front of the restaurant. They only felt a gust of cold wind blowing in their faces, bringing up pieces of fallen leaves on the road. It was incomparably desolate. No, the restaurant had only been open for 3 days, and now it was closed for 2 days. How could they be so lazy? Could they be a little more enterprising? The guests who came specially to eat but didn't get to eat, instead, they were treated with a stomach full of dog food. They strongly condemned this. Su Yiyan didn't care about this. She was now wholeheartedly focused on her own wedding. Although it was a little rushed, whether it was her own family or Hua Chenhuan's side, they all attached great importance to this wedding. Hua Chenhuan also really fulfilled his original promise to Su Yiyan's father. As long as others had something, Su Yiyan would have it, and she had more than anyone else. Early in the morning, Ling Xiaoqi and two other little sisters of the Qing family came to the Su family's house early. They accompanied Su Yiyan to put on makeup and change into bridesmaid clothes. When they changed and came out, Su Yiyan also changed into a wedding dress. The snow-white shape-down wedding dress highlighted Su Yiyan's figure. The thin slanted lining with the fluffy skirt could be said to satisfy many girls' beautiful dreams of a wedding. The bouquet was mainly white-pink roses, but in the center, there were 3 blue roses that Su Yiyan's favorite, which meant, I love you. Yan Yan, you're so beautiful in this. Ling Xiaoqi circled Su Yiyan several times, her eyes full of amazement and envy. Su Yiyan's eyes flashed, and she smiled faintly. Are you envious? If you're envious, then find a good man to marry early. You can wear it yourself. Ling Xiaoqi was startled, and her face instantly turned red. What are you talking about? You're not serious about this big day. It's because it's a big day. Su Yiyan held Ling Xiaoqi's hand and said seriously, I'm serious. Don't be disappointed in all men because of your mother. There are so many men in this world. Although there are scumbags, there will always be a few good men. Keep your eyes open and find the second best one. Ling Xiaoqi's life experience was quite complicated. Compared to Wen Jingping, who pretended to be ignorant, Ling Xiaoqi's mother was the real third party. Ling Xiaoqi's mother and biological father met in university. At that time, her mother didn't know that her boyfriend was already engaged, and the two families had planned to hold a wedding after both parties graduated. Ling Xiaoqi's mother was already pregnant with Ling Xiaoqi when she found out about this. She was so shocked that she almost had a miscarriage. However, she was also a fierce person. After knowing that she was cheated by a scumbag, she quickly broke off the relationship with the scumbag and took the child in her belly away. Chapter 255. Ling Xiaoqi's mother had never hidden these things from her daughter. Therefore, Ling Xiaoqi hated her biological father to the core. In her previous life, around this time, Ling Xiaoqi's biological father came looking for her, wanting to take her back. The reason was that he had a son with his wife, his fiancée. Originally, he was counting on his son to inherit the family business, but unexpectedly, his son died in an accident a few months ago. Due to his early injuries, he was unable to have another child. Seeing that he was about to die without any descendants, he finally remembered Ling Xiaoqi and her son. He wanted to take Ling Xiaoqi back and help her arrange a marriage so that she could give birth to a grandson to inherit his family business. When Ling Xiaoqi found out about this, she was so disgusted that she couldn't take it. But later, when she found out that her family's capital chain was in trouble, she actually went back to that disgusting home behind her back, wanting to help her. In the end, she was killed by that crazy woman who had lost her son and was heartbroken by her husband. She didn't even have time to meet a man who was good to her, loved her, and protected her. When Ling Xiaoqi heard Su Yiyan's words, she was stunned for a moment. Then, she smiled helplessly and said, if you want me to find the second best man, then what about the best man? Su Yiyan snorted coldly and said proudly, the best man is of course the one in my family. Even if you're my best friend, it's useless. I definitely won't let you have him. How dare you? Ling Xiaoqi, who was caught off guard, wanted to hit someone. As the two were talking, Qing Shuqin rushed in from outside and said, it's almost the auspicious time. Are you ready? It's time to go out. Okay, we're going out now. Considering the security issues and the possibility that some people who didn't like them might come and cause trouble, the location of the wedding was set to be on the island where Hu Chenhuan had proposed to Su Yiyan. One could only enter the island with an invitation. Everything on the island began to be prepared after the proposal. In addition to Su Yiyan's favorite flowers, there were also a large number of wedding gifts, fireworks, and ribbons. The wedding scene was decorated with dreamy colors, beautiful and warm. Dad, are you nervous? Su Yiyan held Mr. Su's hand and could feel his anxiety at the moment. She could not help but ask in a low voice. Mr. Su's face was cold as he shook his head. I'm not nervous. Then are you unhappy? His precious daughter, whom he had raised with great difficulty, was about to be married off. How could he be happy? After a moment of silence, Mr. Su chose a more tactful way to put it. I just miss you. This was an expected answer. Su Yiyen smiled and hugged his arm. Dad, don't be sad. Even if I'm married, I'm still your daughter. You didn't lose me. On the contrary, you even have a son. Isn't that great? Mr. Su was speechless. I'm well educated. Don't try to fool me. Although he was depressed, Mr. Su still considered the big picture. He knew that his two children loved each other. As a parent, he couldn't break them up and make them sad. He could only cheer himself up and say, let's go. I'll walk you there. Okay. Melodious music sounded. Su Yiyen walked forward step by step under everyone's gaze, accompanied by her father. She knew that someone was waiting for her at the end of the road. Chapter 256. The moment they clasped their hands, the smiles on the corners of their mouths unconsciously deepened a little. Seeing this scene, Su Yanyan's father felt a little upset. He felt depressed as if his treasure that he had cherished for many years had suddenly been stolen, but he had to let go. I'll leave Yanyan to you. Treat her well. Otherwise, neither her brother nor I will let this go. Hua Chenhuan held Su Yiyen's hand tightly and promised solemnly, I understand. Don't worry. Su Yanyan's father's expression became a little better, and he sensibly stepped aside. The wedding vows at the wedding were more or less the same, but this time, Su Yiyen tried to change the vows according to their own situation. Miss Su Yiyen, are you willing to marry Mr. Hua Chenhuan as your wife? No matter in the past or present life, in sickness and in health, in prosperity and in adversity, you will love him without reservation, worship him, take care of him, never leave him, and be loyal to him forever? Hearing this vows, Hua Chenhuan's heart couldn't help but tremble. An inexplicable emotion rose and fell, and it was indescribably complicated. Su Yiyen turned to look at the people who were accompanying her, and said with a smile, I do. Mr. Hua Chenhuan, are you willing to marry Miss Su Yiyen as your wife? No matter in the past or present life, in sickness and in health, in prosperity and in adversity, you will love her without reservation, respect her, love her, never leave her, and be loyal to her forever? Hua Chenhuan was still stunned by this vows, and he didn't speak for a long time. The people below began to talk about it, and the faces of Qing Shuqin and the others darkened a little. Su Yiyen didn't hear an answer, so she turned her head and called out in confusion, Chenhuan? Hua Chenhuan suddenly woke up, I do. I now announce that Mr. Hua Chenhuan and Miss Su Yiyen are officially married from today onwards. Now, the two newlyweds can exchange wedding rings. Zhua Yanbai and Ling Xiaoqi held the rings for the two of them. The beautiful and simple rings were more similar to the previous proposal rings. They looked intimate and warm. Moreover, the inside of the rings were engraved with their names in capital letters. The meaning was self-evident. After exchanging the rings, Su Yiyen didn't need the people around him to make a fuss. He couldn't wait to lower his head and kiss Hua Chenhuan's lips. Hua Chenhuan was stunned for a moment before replying with a faint smile. The crowd below was dumbfounded by this scene. When they came back to their senses, they also began to applaud as if they wanted to see the world in chaos. Qing Shuqin and the others felt a little helpless, but they also knew that their daughter really loved Hua Chenhuan. They looked at the two of them with joy and jealousy. After the kiss, Su Yiyen lowered her head and touched Hua Chenhuan's forehead. She smiled and said, Mr. Hua, please guide me for the rest of my life. Hua Chenhuan's deep eyes instantly softened into a pool of water, and he replied in a hoarse voice, Miss Su, please guide me for the rest of my life. After that, the two of them couldn't help laughing. There was a banquet after the wedding. Because of the joke that Hua Qihan's family had made before, Hua Chenhuan and the Su family had done their best to invite almost everyone in the upper class to the wedding banquet. The scale of the banquet was not small. Naturally, there were some people who had a good relationship with Hua Qihan's family. When they saw that Hua Chenhuan and the Su family didn't invite Hua Qihan's family to the wedding, they couldn't help but secretly feel indignant for them. Chapter 257. Isn't that right? Even if the Su family had some bad blood with them before, they can't exclude their own brother from this big day. After all, he was the one who raised the family Hua after old master and old Madam Su passed away. Now that he's all grown up, he's turning his back on them. How disappointing. These gossipers were just short of pointing fingers at Hua Chenhuan and calling him an ungrateful wretch. Speaking of which, this Miss Su is really funny. She just had her engagement broken off by the young master of the family Hua, and now she's engaged to the young uncle of the family Hua. What do you think she's after? She's just trying to get back at him. Don't you know that young master Hua broke off the engagement because he had a girlfriend? He's found his true love, and his family is so much better off than the Su family. Why should he swallow his pride and be with a girl he doesn't like? Someone frowned in displeasure. They were engaged, after all. If young master Hua doesn't like her, he should have broken off the engagement and found someone else. He went behind her back and broke off the engagement in front of so many people. No matter how you look at it, before this person could finish, a plump, middle-aged woman adorned in jewels cut her off. Her face was full of disdain. That's because she's useless. She can't even keep an eye on her own man. She deserves to be broken off the engagement, she said. As soon as these words left her mouth, a few of the better-educated ladies frowned and instinctively took a few steps back to distance themselves from these people. These people were in a cesspool and wanted to drag others down with them. They weren't that stupid. These people had no idea that they were being ostracized. They continued to mock the couple's marriage in high spirits. If you ask me, this Miss Su is really stupid. She's marrying a cripple just to get back at them. I'm afraid she'll never be able to make a name for herself in this lifetime. Don't say that. Uncle Hua is a member of the family Hua, after all. How can he not have any assets? Who knows how much money he spent on this island? Most people can't earn that much in a lifetime. The Su family isn't a rich family. Isn't it a good idea to wait for her to die of exhaustion, inherit the inheritance, and then find a man to marry? As soon as he said that, the crowd burst into laughter. The island is beautiful, but who knows if Uncle Hua rented it just for show? Furthermore, I've heard that although this family Hua's youngest uncle looks like a decent person, his personality isn't that good. But that's also true. It's inevitable that he would have some mental distortion if he couldn't even stand up. I'm afraid that Miss Su won't have a good life after marrying over. She pretends to be beautiful on the surface, but who knows how badly she'll be abused in private. It's her own fault for being so stupid. Of all the people she could have married, she chose to marry a cripple like him. Her family didn't even try to stop her. What a money grubber. Marrying her daughter to this kind of person for a few cents is no different than selling her off. As soon as the man finished speaking, a cold female voice suddenly came from behind him. I don't know if my child is stupid or not, but I'm sure some people who like to gossip about others behind their backs aren't very smart. The person who had spoken had kept her voice low. She had thought that only the people around her had heard her, so she hadn't expected to be pointed out. She immediately became nervous. Who was eavesdropping on me? Chapter 258. The noise was so loud that the guests nearby were all dumbfounded. A few seconds later, a few people who were talking to the person who fell finally reacted. They went forward to help her up and screamed, "What are you doing?" The person who hit her sneered and crossed her fingers, making a frightening cracking sound. You're talking bad about my niece behind her back, and you're asking me what I'm doing? They were frightened by her words and their faces turned pale. When they opened their mouths to speak, Su Yiyen and the others had already noticed the noise and looked over. Aunt! Su Yiyen's eyes lit up when she saw them. She picked up her long skirt and ran over to them. Su Yuding couldn't help but complain, slow down, slow down. You're already married, but you're still so impatient. What if you fall? I know what I'm doing. Aunt, when did you arrive? Why didn't you tell me in advance that someone would pick you up? I thought you wouldn't be able to make it back. The woman in front of her looked to be in her early 30s and was wearing a short skirt. She was Su Yiyen's aunt, Su Yuding, Mr. Su's sister. Although Su Yuding was adopted by Su Yiyen's grandparents and was not related to Mr. Su by blood, she had a very good relationship with the Su family. It was just that in recent years, she had been traveling everywhere. Before Su Yiyen's wedding, Qing Xiuqin and the others had tried to contact her. At that time, she was still bungee jumping in a faraway place and would try to come back as soon as possible. They didn't receive a reply from her this morning, so they thought she was delayed by something else and couldn't make it back. They didn't expect, I arrived this morning. How could I not be at your wedding? I wanted to give you a surprise, but I didn't expect that there would be some twists and turns on the way, so I couldn't make it to your wedding ceremony. Su Yuding pursed her lips and was a little unhappy when she said this. At this moment, Hua Chenhuan and the others also came over. Gu Xiaoyang went to Hua Chenhuan and said a few words to him. Hua Chenhuan narrowed her eyes dangerously and said apologetically, "It's our fault for not being well prepared. Aunt met someone she shouldn't have met and ruined her mood." Someone I shouldn't have met? Su Yiyen looked at Su Yuding in confusion. Auntie, who did you meet? Su Yuding snorted, who else could it be? It's your big day. Don't you know what kind of blind people like to come and annoy you? Su Yiyen frowned and quickly reacted, Hua Xiaofeng? Auntie, did you meet Hua Xiaofeng? Where is he? Before Su Yuding could answer, Gu Xiaoyang had already coughed softly and held back his laughter. She was sent to the hospital by Miss Su. Qing Xiuqin and the others had just arrived when they heard this. They asked curiously and excitedly, "Pfft, what's going on? What happened? Why is Hua Xiaofeng in the hospital again?" The word "again" could be said to be very eloquent. Gu Xiaoyang smiled under everyone's probing gazes and said, "It's like this. When Miss Su arrived, she happened to meet Hua Xiaofeng and his girlfriend who wanted to forcibly land on the island. The security guards at the edge of the island didn't receive their invitation and didn't want to let them on the island. The two sides had a dispute. Chapter 259. After hearing Gu Xiaoyang's words, the group of people looked at Su Yuding with astonishment and even fear. It seemed that they had never thought that such a beautiful and charming woman could be so lethal. Only the Su family was quite calm about this, especially Su Yiyen. Her skills were first learned from Su Yuding. Later, when Su Yuding started to travel around, her family found a few other good coaches to help her with the formal training system. Because of this, the relationship between the two was the best in the family, and their temperaments were quite similar. Su Yiyen was fine. She would at least say a few words before the fight. Su Yuding's temper was much more explosive. She was the type who would not talk much if she could fight. Hua Xiaofeng and Wen Jingping were really lucky. They could have met anyone, but they met Su Yuding and were sent to the hospital. Su Yiyen and the others did not have much sympathy for them. On the contrary, they were somewhat gloating. They did not even send invitations to the family Hua because they did not want to see the ugly faces of this group of idiots on this big day. They rushed to disgust them. Now that they were in the hospital, they could only curse that they deserved it. "Auntie, did you fight with them? Are you okay? What can happen to me? Even if there were 10 of them, they would not be able to defeat me. If it were not for your big day today, it would be inauspicious if something really happened. I would have pressed them into the water for a while." Su Yuding snorted coldly. She was not happy. She did not really want to kill the two people. She just thought that if they were soaked in the water for a while, their brains would be completely stupid. That would save them a lot of trouble. Su Yiyen understood her implication. She laughed and said, "Yes, yes, yes. I know that you are the best, Auntie. Let alone 1 or 2 soft-footed shrimps like Hu Xiaofeng, even if there were 10 or 8 of them, you would not care about them. However, it's all thanks to Aunt that my wedding with Qinhuan went so smoothly. This is all thanks to Aunt. Su Yuting subconsciously glanced at Hua Qinhuan, who was not far away. Is this your husband? Su Yiyan blushed and giggled. Yes, Auntie, you can just call him Qinhuan. You look quite decent, but I don't know if you can protect yourself. Su Yuting narrowed her eyes and went straight to the point. Niece-in-law, someone just mocked our family's Yan for marrying a disabled person and even mocked my brother and sister-in-law for selling their daughter. Are you going to do something about it? What? Su Yuting's words made everyone's expression change. After the initial shock, the few of them seemed to have thought of something. Their eyes fell on the woman who was kicked to the ground by Su Yuting. Although she had already stood up with the help of others, her face was unusually miserable. No, it's not like that. I didn't. It was true that the woman liked to gossip, but she was not completely brainless. Bad-mouthing people behind their backs and bad-mouthing people in front of them were two completely different things. She instinctively wanted to defend herself, but was interrupted by Su Yuting. Do you mean that I wronged you? Chapter 260. It was a light sentence, but it made those people feel an inexplicable chill run down their spines. Don't slander us. We didn't say anything. That's right. Just because she's from the Su family, you can't slander her like this. Su Yuting sneered. I haven't even said what you said. Why are you feeling guilty? They choked instantly. While they were arguing, Zui Yanbai had roughly told Hua Qinhuan about the identities and backgrounds of these people. Naturally, he also emphasized their relationship with Hua Qihan's family. Hua Qinhuan's eyes turned cold. Mrs. Zhen, Mrs. Liu, Mrs. Zhu, right? Go back and tell your family that the Hua group will cut off all business cooperation with your family. If you don't want to go bankrupt, find another family as soon as possible so that you don't end up on the streets. When they heard Hua Qinhuan's words, their expressions changed slightly. Mrs. Zhu, who had the best family background, couldn't help but take a step forward and say with some arrogance, what right do you have to cut off family Hua's cooperation with us? You're just a... Before Mrs. Zhu could finish her words, Hua Qinhuan interrupted her. Because I'm the only legitimate heir of family Hua. Yanbai, see them out. I don't want to see these families again. Hua Qinhuan's words clearly meant that she wanted to blacklist these families completely. Zui Yanbai respectfully responded with an excited smile in his eyes. Zui Yanbai had always been nimble. As soon as Hua Qinhuan finished speaking, he rushed forward with a group of people and carried the women out. The women didn't expect Hua Qinhuan to really hit them. They struggled and cursed angrily, but it didn't change the fact that they were thrown out. When they were completely thrown out of the manor and the house was quiet again, Hua Qinhuan raised her eyes and glanced at Gu Xiaoyang. Gu Xiaoyang instantly understood and said with a smile, there are too many people here, and we didn't notice that a few rats had sneaked in and affected everyone's mood. It's our negligence. Please don't mind it. After the banquet is over, we will prepare a small gift for each of you as an apology for what happened just now. As soon as Gu Xiaoyang's words came out, many people echoed and said that it was okay. The atmosphere seemed to have returned to the lively atmosphere before the accident, but there was an inexplicable depression. But no matter what, after such a ruckus, even if there were still people who ridiculed the marriage of the two, they didn't dare to rashly announce it. The word bankrupt was not a joke. Although some of them, like those women, were skeptical of Hua Qinhuan's words just now. However, it would be very foolish of him to bring trouble to his own family just because of a few words of gossip. The losses outweighed the gains. During the process of Hua Qinhuan throwing the women out, Su Yuting and the Su family were observing from the beginning to the end. When the matter was almost settled, she asked meaningfully, is what you said just now true? Can you influence the decision of the Hua family and make them bankrupt? Hua Qinhuan's expression didn't change. She said indifferently, Auntie, I never say things that I'm not sure about. Su Yuding raised her eyebrows slightly and continued to ask, isn't it making a mountain out of a molehill to make them bankrupt just because of a few words of gossip? Chapter 261. Su Yuding stared at Hua Chenhuan for a long time before she finally smiled sincerely. I like your personality. Yan Yan has good taste. At least he picked a responsible girl. As his aunt, I can rest assured. Qing Shuqin and the others couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief when they heard her words. Children have their own lives. Children have their own ideas. As adults, we shouldn't interfere. Whatever we say now is meaningless. We should think about how to live a good life in the future. That's true. Su Yuding glanced sideways at Su Yiyan. Did you hear that? Since you're married, you should settle down and live a peaceful life. Don't let your parents worry about you. Got it. After that, no one mentioned those women who ruined the mood. However, this didn't mean that the matter was over. Not to mention that Hua Chenhuan had said that he would make them pay the price. Mr. Su and the others couldn't tolerate those gossipy women talking about him selling his daughter. Sooner or later, they would get back at them. Perhaps Hua Chenhuan's threat was effective, or perhaps no one dared to stir up trouble at night and risk being thrown to the bottom of the sea to feed the fish. When the banquet was completely over and the guests had all left, nothing else happened to spoil the mood. Mr. Su and the others were the last to leave. They reluctantly left the manor with Ling Xiaoqi and the others as bridesmaids. The two newlyweds finally had a chance to be alone. I'm exhausted. I've been busy all day. It's even more tiring than when I worked in the shop. Su Yiyan rolled around on the soft bed and suddenly turned to look at Hua Chenhuan. She got up from the bed and sat on Hua Chenhuan's body. Like an octopus, she hugged his neck and rubbed against him. But it's worth it. From today onwards, we're officially husband and wife. Hua Chenhuan's heart skipped a beat. He hugged Su Yiyan's waist back and said in a low voice, okay. Are you not happy? Su Yiyan keenly sensed Hua Chenhuan's mood and looked up at him. Hua Chenhuan touched her face with the back of his hand and smiled. No, I'm very happy. But why do I feel that you're not in a good mood? Are you not feeling well? Hua Chenhuan shook his head again. After a moment of silence, he said apologetically, tonight is our wedding night, but I can't do anything. Su Yiyan was stunned. Only then did she remember the crux of the problem. She laughed and said, who said that we can't do anything? We can do a lot of things. What? Did you get someone to make the bathtub I asked you to prepare? Yes, where? In the bathroom cubicle. Hua Chenhuan heard Su Yiyan say that she wanted to use the bathtub to take a bath. He thought that she didn't like to use a bathtub, so he asked someone to separate a small room in the original bathroom with a bead curtain and put the bathtub there. Su Yiyan immediately jumped down from Hua Chenhuan's body and rushed into the bathroom. After finding the bathtub in the small cubicle, her eyes lit up. She quickly began to add hot water and the medicinal herbs that she had prepared earlier. What are you doing? Hua Chenhuan saw this scene when he heard the noise and came over. Su Yiyan saw him coming over. She smiled and waved at him. Come here, I'll help you take off your clothes. Take off my clothes? Hua Chenhuan's hand that was holding the wheelchair handle suddenly paused. Chapter 262. Hua Chenhuan was caught off guard by Su Yiyan's rhetorical question. For a moment, he didn't know how to refute it. Su Yiyan had already soaked all the herbs. Seeing that Hua Chenhuan was still sitting there in a daze, Su Yiyan rolled her eyes and walked over with a smile. It's not convenient for you. Let me help you. Hua Chenhuan seemed to wake up from a dream. Blushing slightly, he said, no need. I can do it myself. It's too slow for you to do it yourself. Let me do it. Hua Chenhuan, Su Yiyan saw his resistance and teased, or are you embarrassed? Hua Chenhuan didn't say anything, but the tips of his ears quietly turned red. The smile in Su Yiyen's eyes deepened. She chuckled and said, "We are husband and wife. What can I not see about you?" Hua Chenhuan. Although there was nothing wrong with what she said, didn't their identities switch? In the end, Hua Chenhuan couldn't resist Su Yiyen's fervent attacks. He had no choice but to agree to Su Yiyen's request. Hua Chenhuan was still wearing the white wedding suit outside and a white shirt inside. Su Yiyen took a deep breath and helped him unbutton his shirt one by one. She was like a child unwrapping a birthday present. Her eyes were shining, and there was a little excitement in them. In fact, the scene inside didn't disappoint her. Although Hua Chenhuan looked thin, he was the type who looked thin in clothes but had muscles when he took them off. Especially his arms, which were firm and muscular. Even if his lower body was paralyzed, he had never given up on training his upper body. Su Yiyen's first reaction was to blush when she saw this scene. However, when she saw Hua Chenhuan's legs, which had shrunk due to years of insomnia, her shyness was instantly replaced by heartache. Her eyes were slightly red as she caressed Hua Chenhuan's legs. Her movements were careful and without any lust, as if she was touching something fragile. Hua Chenhuan had long been used to people looking at his legs with contempt and disdain. However, he still felt a little sad when he saw Su Yiyen's sad gaze. He reached out to hold Su Yiyen's hand and said in a hoarse voice, "If you continue to touch them, I'll have to charge you." Charge? Su Yiyen was stunned. She raised her eyebrows and asked, "What kind of charge?" "If you touch me, you kiss me on the face, if you touch me twice, kiss on the forehead, kiss me on and so on and so on. If you can't pay, you can give yourself to me." When Su Yiyen heard the first few sentences, she felt that the payment method was a little familiar. She almost could not help but laugh when she heard the last sentence. Wasn't this charging method the VVV, special benefit for IP customers that she had previously set? Aren't you making a loss by charging so much? Lose? Of course. Su Yiyen took the initiative to kiss Hua Chenhuan. "I was originally yours. Don't you think you're losing out by exchanging your own things for these?" When Su Yiyen said this, Hua Chenhuan's expression couldn't help but soften a little. Although the room was warm, it would still be cold after sitting for a long time. Su Yiyen didn't continue to explore Hua Chenhuan's legs. She whispered, "I'll help you sit in the bathtub." No need. With Su Yiyen's thin arms and legs, the bathtub was at least a little tall. Hua Chenhuan was still aware of his own weight and directly pressed the wheelchair below. Chapter 263. Although the wheelchair couldn't completely replace his legs, it could at least ensure that he didn't need to rely on others for his daily life. Su Yiyen watched Hua Chenhuan enter the tub with the help of the wheelchair and hurriedly asked, "How do you feel? Is it too hot? Do you want to add some cold water?" There was a seat at the bottom of the tub to ensure that after a person sat in it, the water could only stay near his shoulders. After sitting down, Hua Chenhuan smiled at Su Yiyen and comforted her, "It's okay. The temperature is suitable. It's just that, the smell is a little strange. I added a lot of Chinese herbs to dredge the muscles and bones, promote blood circulation and remove blood stasis. It will smell a little strange. Is it bad?" "It's not bad. It just feels a little special. I've never smelled this before. Bear with it for the sake of treatment. If you're not used to this smell, I'll change some herbs for you another day." "No need. I can accept this smell." Su Yiyen repeatedly confirmed that Hua Chenhuan really didn't reject this smell. She was relieved and asked with a smile, "Do you feel any difference in your body now?" Hua Chenhuan was silent for a moment and said honestly, "It's a little hot." "Hot? This is a normal reaction." Su Yiyen asked tentatively, "Can you feel the side of your legs?" Hua Chenhuan knew what Su Yiyen wanted to ask. She lowered her eyes and shook her head in disappointment. Su Yiyen's heart ached and she hurriedly comforted her, "It's okay. This is just the beginning. The medicinal diet and acupuncture haven't been done yet. You'll feel it one day. Okay. It's your first time today, so you have to soak for more than half an hour. If you feel that the water is cold, remember to tell me. I'll add more water for you. Okay. After testing the temperature of the water, Su Yiyan leaned on the edge of the tub and waited with Hua Chenhuan for time to pass. As she waited, she seemed to think of something and burst out laughing. Hua Chenhuan heard the sound and turned to look at her in confusion. What's wrong? Nothing. It's just that when you sit in the tub, it's like sitting in a big pot. In particular, the color of the medicinal bath was brown. It looked like Su Yiyan's throat couldn't help but move. She smiled foolishly and said, add some star anise, cinnamon, nutmeg, fennel. The fragrance will spread for 10 miles. Literally, eat, calm. Hua Chenhuan soon realized that the person guarding him was so tired that she had fallen asleep. He felt helpless and a little distressed at the same time. He reached out and touched her cheek, only to see her lips moving slightly as if she was saying something. He leaned closer to listen carefully and heard her muttering, braised eggs, chicken legs, chicken feet, duck gizzards. Hua Chenhuan was slightly stunned and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He glanced at the time on the edge of the wheelchair and got up by holding the edge of the tub. He wanted to carry Su Yiyan back to the room. Unexpectedly, when he reached out, he heard Su Yiyan whisper again, Chenhuan, I like you. Chapter 264. Su Yiyan slept until almost 9 o'clock the next day, perhaps because she had been too tired the previous day. Only then did she reluctantly wake up. In a daze, she heard a familiar chuckle. Su Yiyan was stunned for a moment before she realized that there was someone lying next to her. Her brain, which had just woken up from a deep sleep, was still a little dazed. She subconsciously moved back. The laughter by her ear paused, and then a familiar voice asked, You're awake? Only then did Su Yiyan remember that yesterday was her and Hua Chenhuan's official wedding day. Now, the person lying next to her was her husband. Realizing this, Su Yiyan's face suddenly turned red. She lowered her head slightly and said, Morning. Morning. Hua Chenhuan's lips curled up slightly, and he took the initiative to kiss Su Yiyan. The scene in front of him was something he had imagined countless times, but he did not dare to hope for. Now, it had become reality. After being kissed, Su Yiyan was still a little dazed. After a while, she remembered that she was shy. At the same time, she also remembered what happened last night. How did I fall asleep last night? You were too tired. You were busy the whole day, so you fell asleep lying next to the bathtub. Su Yiyan was even more embarrassed when she heard that. She had clearly said that she would accompany him, but in the end, she had fallen asleep first. Were you the one who carried me to the bed? Yes. Su Yiyan did not dare to look into Hua Chenhuan's eyes. If Hua Chenhuan's body was fine, after sleeping last night, she was afraid that she would wake up in a different situation today. With that thought, Su Yiyan's face turned even redder. Cough. Did you soak enough time last night? Yes. Hua Chenhuan saw Su Yiyan's embarrassment. His eyes turned slightly, and he deliberately teased her. You talked in your sleep last night. Dream talk? Su Yiyan was shocked. What did I say? You said. Hua Chenhuan dragged her words to keep him in suspense. When Su Yiyan's heart skipped a beat, she said faintly, You like me. You like me very, very much. I'm the person you like the most in the world. Su Yiyan was stunned. When she came to her senses, her entire face turned red. Hua Chenhuan did not intend to let her go so easily. She smiled and said, So, you like me so much. Su Yiyan's face was so hot that it could fry an egg. When she heard his words, she suddenly looked up at him. She got up and jumped onto Hua Chenhuan. So what if I am? I was wrong to like my own husband. Hua Chenhuan looked at the person on top of him, and the teasing smile on his face gradually disappeared. She said fiercely that she liked him, but her flushed little face had already betrayed her. She was like a little kitten guarding its territory. All the hair on her body stood up, just to not show her fear. Hua Chenhuan's smile did not disappear. Well, you didn't do anything wrong. You like me. Su Yiyan was stunned. Only then did she realize that she might have been fooled by Hua Chenhuan. She was embarrassed and angry. Before she could finish speaking, the door was suddenly opened from the outside. Young master, young madam, are you awake? Uncle Zhang asked me to. Yu Zian's cheerful words came to an abrupt end. She stared blankly at the scene in the room. Su Yiyan widened her eyes in disbelief at the intruder. Before she could say anything, Yu Zian closed the door with a bang, as if he had been scalded. I didn't see anything. You can continue. After shouting, the sound of Yu Zian's running came from outside the door. This guy clearly realized that he had made a big mistake and fled to avoid punishment. Su Yiyan. Chapter 265. After Yu Zian ran away, the two of them looked at each other for 2 seconds. Su Yiyan was the first to react. She jumped off Hua Chenhuan's body and ran to the bathroom as if she was escaping. I'm going to brush my teeth first. Get up quickly. Let's go down and eat. Hua Chenhuan looked at her fleeing figure and couldn't help smiling. She touched the spot where she was pulled and got up. When Su Yiyan pushed Hua Chenhuan downstairs, only Uncle Zhang was standing at the dining table, fiddling with things. Yu Zian was nowhere to be found. He probably had to hide outside to avoid trouble for the rest of the day. When Uncle Zhang heard the noise, he subconsciously turned his head and looked in the direction of the sound. When he saw the two of them coming down hand in hand, his eyes lit up. He smiled and said, Young master, young madam is awake. The kitchen just made a few more snacks today. Young madam, take a look and see if they are to your liking. Su Yiyan pushed Hua Chenhuan to the dining table. She glanced at the snacks on the table and was stunned. These snacks, Uncle Zhang knew what Su Yiyan wanted to ask, so he explained first. Young madam made a lot of snacks for young master. These snacks were made by the family's chef. The taste is definitely better than the ones you made. Time is tight this morning. Young madam, you can eat some first. When we return to the family mansion tomorrow, I'll ask the kitchen to make more delicious snacks for you and young master. When Su Yiyan heard him say this, she was surprised and amazed. The family Hua's chef could recreate the same snacks just by looking at them. This family's chef was really talented. Su Yiyan walked to the seat next to Hua Chenhuan and sat down. She first picked up a soup dumpling and then an egg tart. She realized that not only did the snacks look the same, but they also tasted similar to the ones she made. She immediately sighed. Your family's chef is really amazing. When Hua Chenhuan heard Su Yiyan praising the family's chef, her eyes flashed. She said in a deep voice, You're even better. Their food isn't as good as yours. Su Yiyan's hand paused. She couldn't help but smile sweetly. Then I'll make all your meals from now on. Before they got married, Su Yiyan often gave him special treatment. Now that they were married and living together, she naturally had to take care of everything and make more supplements for Hua Chenhuan's body. When Hua received an affirmative answer, her face softened. When he heard the two's conversation, the smile on his face became more and more sincere. Not to mention that there weren't many people who knew how to cook these days. Even if they did, very few people would be willing to provide 3 meals a day for the people around them, not to mention Su Yiyan, who was pampered since she was young. She was a rich young lady who had been pampered since she was young. Uncle Zhang was an old man in the family Hua. When Hua Chenhuan's parents were still alive, he had been working in the family Hua. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that he had watched Hua Chenhuan grow up. When he first found out about the reason for their marriage, he had some guesses and prejudices against Su Yiyan. However, during this period of time, he had seen Su Yiyan's care for Hua Chenhuan. Now that he saw the way the two of them interacted, he couldn't help but sigh. The young master had good taste. He liked Miss Su at first glance. Unlike some people who mistook fish eyes for pearls, they would regret it one day. Su Yiyan didn't know what Uncle Zhang was thinking. Just as she was about to pick up another bun, a bowl of fragrant red bean porridge was placed in front of her. Chapter 266. Su Yiyan looked in the direction of the hand that was holding the porridge and immediately met Uncle Zhang's kind eyes. I heard that on ancient Earth, the bride must eat a bowl of red bean porridge on the second day of her wedding to express the joyous occasion. Young mistress, since you like ancient Earth foods so much, you must like this custom too, so I asked the kitchen to make this bowl of red bean porridge. Su Yiyan was speechless. Red bean porridge was indeed a symbol of the couple's lingering feelings after marriage, but if she remembered correctly, when ancient Earth people drank red bean porridge on the second day of their wedding, it usually meant that the two of them were all ready. When she thought of this, Su Yiyan's face immediately flushed red. She opened her mouth to explain that nothing had happened between them last night, but then she remembered that the two of them were now husband and wife, so it would be strange if nothing had happened between them. She could only silently accept this hint and drink the red bean porridge mouthful by mouthful with a red face. When Uncle Zhang saw that she was obediently drinking the porridge, he felt rather comforted. After the two newlyweds entered the house last night, he was still a little worried and stood outside for a long time to listen in. He clearly heard Su Yiyan say that she wanted to help Hua Chenhuan take off her clothes. Uncle Zhang's first thought at that time was that this young mistress looked young and immature. He didn't expect her to be so proactive in front of his young master. However, this was also good. With his young master's temperament, he really needed a proactive girl to complement him. In addition, when Su Yiyan pushed Hua Chenhuan downstairs, she subconsciously held her waist a few times. She was exhausted from standing for so long yesterday, so Uncle Zhang was even more certain that the two of them had done what they should have done last night. Su Yiyan still didn't know that her simple action of holding her waist had inexplicably turned into a huge melon because of the old man's imagination. After breakfast, she pushed Hua Chenhuan outside to admire the flowers and digest her food. "Oh right, did you feel uncomfortable after the medicinal bath last night?" When Su Yiyan said this, she couldn't help but feel a little regretful. "Last night, I really... How did I fall asleep? I'm fine. I didn't feel any discomfort after the bath yesterday. On the contrary, I feel that my limbs aren't as cold as before. I slept very well yesterday." Su Yiyan breathed a sigh of relief when she heard what he said. "That's good. The fact that your limbs are warm means that your blood is circulating. I'll give you acupuncture and massage in the evening. Then, I'll prepare some medicinal cuisine to go with it. Let's see how it works." Yes. Hua Chenhuan's cooperation made Su Yiyan happy, but she was also curious. "You're just letting me do whatever I want. Aren't you afraid that I'm messing around and treating you badly?" "You won't." Su Yiyan was slightly startled. "Why? You can't bear to." Being exposed, Su Yiyan groaned gloomily. "Now you are confident. I wonder who was the one who was afraid that I would dislike him." Hua Chenhuan instinctively turned to look at her and teased, "At that time, I didn't know you liked me so much." "Of course I was worried. Now you know?" "Yes." "Humph." Su Yiyan groaned proudly, but she didn't refute Hua Chenhuan's words. Hua Chenhuan raised the corner of his mouth. Immediately, he seemed to think of something and asked in a low voice, "Aren't you going out today?" Su Yiyan suddenly stopped and said unhappily, "It's only the first day of our marriage. Do you want to drive me out?" "No, I just heard from your brother that you've been very busy every day since you opened the shop." Chapter 267. Unfortunately, the conditions didn't allow it, so she could only leave this regret for the future. While the two were talking, Dun Dun, who had been locked upstairs and hadn't been released yesterday, finally regained his freedom and rushed out of the house happily. He kept circling around Su Yiyen and barking. Only then did Su Yiyen remember this dog's son who had been neglected by her for a long time. Her eyes turned slightly, and she leaned close to Wu Chenhuan's ear and asked with a smile, "Are you afraid of noise?" "Noise? I want Xiaoqi to bring Hua Hua over. Look at how much our son misses his wife," Su Yiyen said and looked meaningfully at Dun Dun. Dun Dun seemed to understand her words. He kicked his legs forward and collapsed on the ground, looking at his dog father eagerly. "Wu Chenhuan, you're the mistress of the manor. You decide." "Okay, I'll call her now. I'll make delicious food for you at noon." As soon as she said that, Dun Dun immediately barked a few times happily, as if he knew that he would soon be able to meet his dream-love dog. The reason why Su Yiyen asked Ling Xiaoqi to come over at this time wasn't just for Dun Dun, but also because she wanted to call more people to eat together and liven things up. At that time, the foodie patients who were complaining on the internet that Su Yiyen was lazy in doing business and that the shop had only been open for 3 days before she left the customers to get married. She was really too irresponsible. Suddenly, a reminder popped up as they scrolled. Su Yiyen's live broadcast room, which had been closed for nearly a week, was now live. "Look at what I saw. The missing person is back online. Hey, didn't the little cutie who went to the shop say that the streamer went to get married? Why is she live broadcasting at this time? Who cares why the streamer is live broadcasting at this time? It's good that there's food to eat. Streamer, are you releasing a new product today?" Su Yiyen looked at the various messages that flew across the screen, as well as the increasing number of viewers in the upper right corner of the screen. He smiled and said, "I did go to get married. Today is the first day of my wedding. I wanted to share the good news with everyone, so I started the live broadcast." As soon as Su Yiyen's words came out, the live stream instantly exploded. It's the host's first day of marriage, yet she still has so much energy. Looks like it's the host's husband's fault. He, what are you talking about, upstairs? I'm still a pure and innocent baby. I don't understand. I'm curious about what the host looks like. I'm curious about what the host's husband looks like. I'm curious about the host and her husband's wedding. I'm curious about everything, but what I'm most curious about is how the host spent last night. You're all bad, but I like it. Host, please do a live broadcast of the wedding night. Su Yiyen's mouth twitched when he saw that the topic in the live broadcast room was beginning to deviate. Just as he was about to change the topic, he heard a familiar notification sound. Congratulations to the host, Yan, for receiving 10 luxurious and exquisite villas sent by a loyal viewer, Mulberry Without Mountain. Congratulations to the host, Yan, for receiving 520 giant oil tankers sent by a loyal viewer, Mulberry Without Mountain. Congratulations to the host, Yan, for receiving 9,999 roses sent by a loyal viewer, Mulberry Without Mountain. A series of special gift effects almost overshadowed the comments that filled the screen. Many people spontaneously stopped spamming the screen when they saw the rows of gifts. Soon, only a colorful message was left on the originally crowded screen. Chapter 268. The bullet screen, which had finally calmed down, seemed to have flipped a switch and began to flood the screen with congratulatory messages. In the eyes of the audience in the live broadcast room, Wu Chenhuan's series of gifts might just be to congratulate Su Yiyen on his marriage. Only Su Yiyen knew that he might have done this simply because he didn't want others to ask about what happened last night. Thinking of this, Su Yiyen's face turned red again. Thank you, everyone. In order to celebrate my marriage, 3 lucky viewers will be given some braised food today. In addition, the guests who go to the restaurant tomorrow will be given a red egg as a wedding gift. Red egg? What is a red egg? Is it an egg with a red shell? What kind of animal's egg is red? Red eggs are eggs that have been dyed with pigment. Giving out red eggs to relatives and friends on festive occasions such as weddings, childbirth, and even the child's 1-month-old birthday is a custom on ancient Earth. It implies prosperity and auspiciousness in the future. As soon as Su Yiyan said this, many people were moved. So there is such a meaning. I must go to the host's shop tomorrow to get a red egg and freeload off her auspicious aura. Maybe my Prince Charming will appear soon and come to marry me on a rainbow cloud. The host's auspicious aura is not something that ordinary people can freeload off. I want to get a red egg too. Pray that I will be promoted and rich next year and quickly become a billionaire. A group of people began to make all kinds of wishes and pray for the next year in a gourmet live broadcast room. Those who didn't know better would think that they had accidentally joined a fan group. Su Yiyan let them make a fuss and found what he wanted from the freezer. Pork belly, duck gizzard, duck heart. It seems like I'm still missing something. As soon as Su Yiyan finished speaking, Uncle Zhang walked in from outside with a big box of clean chicken feet in his hand. Young madam, these are the chicken feet you wanted. Su Yiyan's eyes lit up. He hurried forward and took the box of chicken feet. Thank you. There is a lot of smoke in here. Uncle Zhang, you should go outside and wait. It will be ready soon. Okay. I'll go out now. This short interlude once again caused a heated discussion among the audience in the live broadcast room. Young madam. So the host is now at her husband's house? Is the person above stupid? The host and her husband have already had their wedding. Naturally, they have to live together. I was so happy before, I didn't notice that the background of the host's house has changed. But it's still as high-end as before. Of course, not all the comments were so harmonious. Soon, someone in the live broadcast room hinted that Su Yiyan had hooked up with a rich man. Such comments were quickly cleared, and the person who posted it was banned. However, there were still quite a few audience members who saw it. Unfortunately, most of them treated it as a joke. Are these days, edition. The streamer herself is a rich woman. She just married another rich man of equal social status. Can't some people hold back their jealousy? Chapter 269. Although Su Yian's live stream was not long, she had a lot of die-hard foodie fans. In addition, since the store was open for business, most people who went to the store to eat the medicinal cuisine felt the difference in their physical condition and attracted another wave of loyal fans. When Su Yiyan was a newcomer, many people wanted to defame her but failed. Now, it was needless to say. Su Yiyan put the chicken feet next to other ingredients and watched the audience speak up for her. Her heart felt warm. The next second, she saw someone asking about the chicken feet in her hand. You are all hating the rich, but I only care about the chicken feet in the streamer's hand. I've eaten this thing before. It doesn't have any meat, and it doesn't taste good after being stewed. I'm curious what the streamer will make it taste like. Don't worry, the previous fish was the same. In my impression, even if a lot of ginger was added to the fish, it still had a fishy smell. But the spicy boiled fish made people swallow their tongues. This will definitely work. Is the streamer going to add chili? I feel that chili can suppress many dishes with strong flavors. Spicy fans are looking forward to it. He had to admit that the foodies were very capable. He had only watched Su Yian's live stream a few times, and he had figured out that chili peppers could cover up many dishes with strong flavors and make them taste better. If it's chili, a little pepper will be added. The taste is not obvious. But you're right. If the chicken feet are delicious, chili can be used to flavor it. But today, I'm going to make a different method. When there's a chance next time, I'll teach you how to make something else. Su Yiyan was not surprised by the audience's comments on the chicken feet. In this era where Chinese herbs and chili were scarce, it was impossible for pickled pepper chicken feet and braised chicken feet to appear. But if it were not for these two, the chicken feet would always feel like they lacked a certain soul. This was also the reason why Su Yiyan had asked Uncle Zhang if there were any ready-made ingredients in the kitchen. After Su Yiyan finished speaking, she set up a pot, added water, and began to add the braising ingredients into the gauze bag. Star anise, cardamom, bay leaf, tangerine peel, cinnamon, fennel. Unlike the previous live streams, Su Yiyan did not explain the effects of the herbs to the audience one by one. This was because there were too many herbs to be used in the braising material. As the audience listened to the fresh medicinal herbs that they had never heard of before, they suddenly realized that the host might be preparing a big move. They looked forward to the pot of stew that looked like a hodgepodge. Only Hu Chenhuan, upon hearing Su Yiyan's introduction, subconsciously recalled what Su Yiyan had said the night before. Then, he looked at the pot of stew that was gradually boiling. Hu Chenhuan. So, you really want to cook me and eat me? The boiling hot water gradually brought the smell of the braised ingredients in the gauze bag together with the fragrance of the pork ribs that had been prepared earlier into the soup. The overbearing aroma instantly swept through the small kitchen and the live stream room. It even drifted outside the courtyard. Ling Xiaoqi and Zui Yanbai, who had heard the news and rushed over to eat and drink, were shocked. It also made the audience in the live stream room go crazy. What is this smell? How can it be so fragrant? Oh no, I'm already drooling before I even put the ingredients in. You're tuning into the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.